What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to another Minecraft Bedrock Edition add-on tutorial, as well as a template download for you guys. You could download the template in the description below, so make sure you guys download that so you can follow along in this tutorial kind of explanation, and you can use the template for whatever it is that you want for creating awesome, cool add-ons. Can't wait to see some of those. But yeah, let's go ahead and take a look real quick at what we're going to be learning and checking out as well as downloading today. So this is going to be a custom crystal block. We're going to be explaining blocks today. This block has a flipbook texture and animated texture, as well as you can place it in different areas of the game, like so. Well, that didn't work. Like so. There we go. You could change some of those up, and I'll explain how that works as well. Also, let me go ahead and turn sound on real quick for the blocks here. If you click it, that is cool. You can actually hear the custom sound that I added to the block. If you guys want to do that, that's pretty neat. So let's go ahead and move over into the desktop, and I can show you guys how we're going to be doing that and kind of explaining things. Now that we're over on the desktop, I just want to quickly say, if you haven't already, you should download Blockbench. And over on the internet, I also have a link to bedrock.dev. This is how you can learn about everything related to add-ons and kind of just explain and kind of like get a grasp of everything that's going on, especially in this video, as well as you can learn it yourself. And I just have basically where you would put these in the add-ons themselves. But you should definitely go to bedrock.dev and kind of learn this as well. I just wanted to give you guys that so you can kind of understand how to look at add-ons and what they mean and meanings to everything. So first off, we're going to go into the resource file. I'm going to do a drag drop system for this tutorial, which means I'm going to already have everything pre-made, and I'm just going to drag it over and kind of show you what it would look like if you were to each classify these into your add-on individually, as well as what it would look like if you just had a single block. And then at the end, you would get the full download, which is what you've already downloaded in the description below. You would already have these in there, so you wouldn't have to take these out. They're already there. You can already know and kind of explain everything as we go. So the first thing is you would create manifest and a pack icon. And what I mean by manifest, if you guys don't know, this is for beginners. You would just create a regular manifest. Description is what the description of your add-on would be whenever you click to add it to your world, as well as the name. You can also have custom colors, which is here. If you guys don't know about custom colors, you can look that up as well to figure out what kind of custom colors you would like for your text inside of the add-on files. Pack icon is just the image of your add-on that you would be downloading or putting into your world, you know, the little picture. That's what the pack icon is. First thing first, let's start with text. Text, we have US language. You could create any language that you want. If you want, you can use Bridge, I think, has like a really cool feature that gives you every language for the game, and you could just copy and paste over. So we're going to do tiles, which are blocks. Dakon, which is the ID of the block. Blue, that's the classification of the block. And it's going to equal name blue. You could change this to whatever it is that you want. So I could put crystal. And that means in the give command, I would have to do Dakon blue, give me. And then whenever I'm holding it, placing it, putting it in chest or whatever, it would say blue or crystal or whatever it is that you want the name to be. Move on to textures. I went ahead and changed the texture to this. This is what a single block would look like. And then we'll drag in, like I was saying, and we'll explain those. But this would be a regular block. You would go to your main texture, and you would be classifying blue textures inside your blocks folder, name blue texture. You need a blocks JSON, and this is just saying your identifier, blue, texture blue. Sound would be a vanilla sound. I have it so glass, whenever you break this crystal block, it will sound like glass. You could change this to any vanilla sound in the game. That means wood, stone, glass, dirt. You know, those sounds when you're running across or breaking a certain block, this is what it would sound like. So first things first, let's go ahead and change the texture. I feel like that's a big one that a lot of people want. So what you would do is inside of this regular file, you will see that inside the textures, I have a flip book texture. This flip book texture is doing ticks per frame, 15. Higher the number, faster the ticks. Lower the number, the slower the ticks, which means the slower the transition in between each frame of the custom image. We have block, blue, blue. So let's go to blocks, and we're going to delete this one. Now we need our custom texture to look something like this, to have it have a flip book picture. So this is what it would look like. It would need to be in a format like this. And each little square here is 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. And that's how fast in between this picture and this picture, the ticks per tick would be to transition in between these two. You can also take this image yourself, open it in like Photoshop or something, change the texture, and you could just use this if you guys want. I'm giving it to you guys so you could just copy, put a new picture over this picture, and you're basically done. And you could just keep it like that if you guys want to use the template like that way. But that's exactly how you would make a flipbook animated texture. Now we're going to go to custom sounds. I'm going to just drop this over. You need to create a sounds folder. Let's open that. I have another folder inside of the sounds, which is called Magic. Magic has the starsound.ogg. OGG is basically a smaller music file rather than MP4. You don't have to use OGG. I know you can use MP4, but it's a really small file size, which makes your add-ons a lot smaller. You can convert MP4 to OGG. I recommend doing that if you guys want to make custom sounds. It's just a lot better. You can even put entire songs in OGG, which is incredible. So if you wanted to make like a custom music block and every time you click it, it would play a different song, you could do something like that. But if you had an MP4, it would be a way bigger file. I think you should stay with OGG. Inside of your sound definition is where you're going to make your custom sound exist in the game. This would be running through commands, blocks, basically anything. So your custom sound will exist with this file. You're going to define where it is for your sounds. You could create any custom category. I keep mine in UI because not a lot of the times will people be using UI, and you'd have to class where it would be inside the UI. You could change this to so many different things: game, creative, menu, UI, custom. You can just put custom here. That's totally up to you, whatever it is you like to do. I just using this because a lot of my custom sounds are inside of UI files, so I just left it for this demonstration. We're going to look for the sounds folder inside of the magic folder, looking for the song or the sound named star sound, and we're going to have a volume pitch of 0.3. 0.3 is pretty loud, guys. If you want to change that, I recommend most sounds should be 0.1 to 0.3. Anything more than that is incredibly loud. Now that we have a custom sound, let's put in our custom geometry for the block. You're going to take this models folder. Once you have a models folder, go ahead and open it. Oops. Like so. We're going to have an entity because you guys know you have to create with Blockbench. You have to make a custom entity model, and we're going to use that to be our block. So download Blockbench, create a cool little model of whatever. And real quick, while I explain this, this is also how you would make slabs, doors, stairs, anything that's like in the game that you see that's different. You could use this method to create those things like slabs, stairs, and a whole bunch of other really cool things. You can also have them interlock and match together to where, like fences where they lock together, stairs they lock together. You could still use these geometry models as those and then just change them based off how you would perform those. So for this, it would be, this is just the basic geometry to get you guys going. This is the crystal that's in the template that I showed you in the beginning of the video. this is what it is. It's not much here, but the name of it is geometry blue. Keep that in mind for when we go to the behaviors. And that's basically everything for the resource file. So let's go ahead and go over into the behavior file and kind of explain some of that. Now that we're over in the behaviors, I have the same thing and same kind of concept that I did with the resource. I'm going to drag and drop feature rules and kind of explain those. Main thing is in the blocks file. In the blocks file, this could be where your creativity comes. There's so much to explain inside of a block file that it's hard to put into one video unless I just talked about this file. So I wanted to look at this. I do have a properties. Normally, the properties are going to be whether you're transitioning in between different models or you want to use it for cardinal facing, which is where you're going to place the block and how they would look as you place them. Normally what properties would be. I have 7 different facings of properties. Like I said, you would use this for multiple different creative ways. This is what it's mostly used for. On top of that, we have it in our components. We have our blue texture and we have our render method, which is about what all of them would be. Unless you're going to use a transparent method, which is like glass and so, then you would need to have a transparent file. And you would need to put that inside of the resource folders, inside of a materials file. But we have destroy time. Destroy time is just how fast you destroy a block. Entity collision is basically if you're going to face through your block or you're going to actually collide with your block. Your loot, explanatory, whatever it's going to drop when you break the block. And then you have Minecraft geometry, which, like I said before, geometry blue. That's what we're looking for. That's our custom model inside of the resource. Block light absorption is how much it absorbs light around it. And then light emission is how much it's emitting. So 1, pretty strong. That's basically how most blocks are. If you don't want it to emit any light, then put a 0. We have Minecraft interact. In this component, you can have this do multiple different things. And what I mean by multiple different things is on interact, you can have it run an event, and this event is called Dakon. We're targeting ourselves, or we could target anything like other. We could target the block, target an entity. We're going to target the person that interacts with it, which is self. Let me scroll down so I can explain the interact. Inside of the events, we'll come back to these up here. Inside of the events, we have the Dakon interact event. This one's going to run a command of the command play sound. This is at the beginning of the video when I interacted with the custom model, it made a sound. And this is how I ran it with the run command. There's a lot of different events and components for blocks. And this is what I was saying. I recommend you guys go here because then you can go and actually look at all the things you can do. For example, you can even use the play sound. The only reason I did it with the command is because a lot of people have been asking how to use commands with custom block. You can also have it play an effect and basically do a lot of things. You can even damage the player and you, I guess, die. Spawn, loot, teleport. You can have, I guess you can have it randomly teleport even on a certain block. That's cool. Spawn, loot, swing. You can even set another block. You guys can play around with that, but this is what it would look like inside of the events. And you kind of look at what's going on here. So go ahead and minimize that. Next up here on this is on player placing. Then we have the Dakon place, which is the event we're running. And this is all the cardinal facing, which is in permutations of the condition, where it's at, what number, which is the facing. And then this is the rotation that we're going to be setting the block, which is up here. And that's basically it for that part. Then you have just rotate Y, which is true. So if you want to flip it upside down or not, and then friction. But that is pretty much it for the regular block. You guys can play around with that. Just go to bedrock.dev. You could be able to check that out. Whenever you have a block like we had before, we have a loot tables. You want to create a blocks blue, which is what we have, and pools, which is what we have. I could change the minimum to 0 where it doesn't sometimes drop something. I recommend keeping it at 1, and you can even do a max of whatever. So if I wanted it to drop 10 of these blocks when I destroy it, that's what it would be. Entries, you can have multiple entries, so you could have a ton of different items. It's basically like a lucky block when you break it if you wanted. We just have it set to 1, and this would basically drop itself. We're going to do a block. If you wanted it to be an item, just change that to item. And change this to like Minecraft diamond if you want it to drop a diamond when you break it. Over inside of the recipes folder, now I have this one, which is recipe shapeless. If you guys want to have a recipe, you can look at this file here. Let me grab this. If you want a recipe, this is what it would look like. So I just went ahead and used the acacia boat. This is in the crafting tables tag. That means you have to make it in the crafting table. And this is the pattern they use. So P equals wooden shovel. That would be in the middle for the top. You would have the hashtag number sign here. And those would be planks. And that would be data 4, which is the acacia wood. Results, Minecraft boat, data 4, which should be the acacia boat. And that's how you would make a shaped recipe. And if you want a shapeless recipe, which is most common inside of add-ons nowadays, is you basically could put any whatever block, whatever items in there in no specific order, and then you can have it. So I have dirt and red flour. You would get the custom crystal. That's just for the example. A lot of people use that so that way they kind of know. They don't have to memorize because there's not an easy way to show recipes inside of here. So that's like the best way to kind of look at it. Now, if you want to add feature, rule, and features, these are basically allowing the block to spawn in the overworld or end or something. So these are where they would spawn in caves, on top of blocks, around blocks. This is how you would make them spawn according to your conditions. So feature rule would be where you want it to be, placement, pass placement, surface pass. And you could go to bedrock.dev as well, and you could learn about these same specific features inside of the feature rules. And you can learn kind of a little bit about them. I'm going to explain a little bit. So you'd have a test here for test biome tag. You can also have it test for like warmth, cold, if you know a lot about biomes. We're going to have it equal overworld. If you wanted to change that to jungle, you could put jungle or plains if you want it to only spawn in plains, however you want. The distribution, we're going to have every 100 block, there's going to be one that spawns, and it's going to be 0, 0, and it's going to make sure it's at the top variable of the world. That means it's not going to spawn underground. This is basically spawning on top of the world, and it's going to be every 100 blocks or so. One should spawn. Next, inside of features, we have the conditions. The reason I made this is because I kind of wanted sometimes it to spawn in certain situations to where it would spawn sideways or upside down. This is kind of what that's doing, and it's just placing the block. It could attach to the bottom of these blocks. Other than that, it's just going to look for a regular block to place on top of. And that is pretty much it for this kind of tutorial. Hopefully you guys liked it. If you did, leave a like, comment down below on what you guys would like to learn next. If you guys want me to make a different template, if you guys want me to go over anything in particular or separate in another video, I could talk about just feature rules. I could talk about just block behaviors. I could talk about whatever it is that you're struggling with. Also, I'm going to be live streaming a little bit more in the future as well. So if you have any of those questions, feel free to come over and join into a live stream so we could, answer your questions and do stuff like that. But that is pretty much it, guys. Hope you enjoy, and I'll see you in the next one. I'm DAKONBLACKROSE, and I'm out. Bye!